ASUU set to begin strike on Monday. Lagos demolishes 17 houses built on Ikota River right-of-way. President Tinubu heads to Rome for Akaba process meeting. Soldiers join youth-led protests as tension escalate in Madagascar. Hello, welcome to the news update on Trust TV. My name is Hawa Gambo. Thank you for joining us. Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, are set to embark on the two-week warning strike beginning on Monday, following the expiration of a two-week ultimatum issued to the federal government to address their long-standing demands. The government are yet to make any official statement on the looming industrial action, despite ongoing negotiations aimed at preventing another disruption in the nation's tertiary education system. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, said on Wednesday in Abuja that the government had reached the final phase of talks with ASUU and other unions to resolve disputes over welfare, funding, and the implementation of the 2009 ASUU-FGN agreement. Alausa stated that significant progress had been made, including the release of 50 billion naira for earned academic allowances and another 150 billion captured in the 2025 budget for needs assessment to be disbursed in 3 tranches. He added that promotion areas, teaching allowances and wage awards had been addressed, while outstanding obligations would be cleared by 2026. ASUU, however, ASUU President Chris Piwuna faulted the ministry for what he called its habitual delays in tackling critical issues affecting lecturers, describing the government's approach as reactive and uncoordinated. Sources across several federal universities, including the University of Jos, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and the University of Abuja, confirmed that mobilization for the strike had already begun. The chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) Governors Forum, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, has expressed concern over the increasing wave of defection from the opposition party to the All Progressive Congress. Speaking on Saturday in Abuja after inaugurating the PDP Convention Communication Subcommittee, Mohammed said that governors and members who recently joined the ruling party were not finding things easy politically after their defection. He assured that PDP governors were working quietly to keep the party united ahead of the 2027 general elections, adding that the association of prominent leaders such as former President Goodluck Jonathan and Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi with the PDP shows Nigeria's continued faith in the party. In recent months, the PDP has witnessed major political shifts. Several top figures, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ex-Senate President David Mark, and Dele Momodu, have joined the opposition coalition led by the African Democratic Congress (ADC). Meanwhile, some PDP governors, including Akwa Ibom's Umo Eno, Delta's Sheriff Ovebowori, and former vice presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa, have defected to the APC. With the PDP's National Elective Convention set for November 15th to 16th in Ibadan, Oyo State, reports indicate that Enugu Governor Peter Mba and Bayelsa Governor Doye Diri may also move to the ruling party. Reacting, Governor Mohammed said while he would not condemn his colleague's decision, he remained steadfast in the PDP. He urged members considering defection to leave peacefully without damaging the party's image, adding that their exit will create room for capable Nigerians to join and strengthen the PDP. Mohammed expressed optimism that the upcoming convention would produce credible leaders capable of challenging the APC and addressing Nigerians' needs in 2027. The federal government has opened diplomatic talks with the United States following allegations of state-backed persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed that it reached out to the U.S. authorities to reject claims made by some American lawmakers, including Senator Ted Cruz, who recently sponsored the Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act of 2025. The proposed legislation seeks to reinstate Nigeria as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act, impose sanctions on Nigerian officials, and restrict certain U.S. aid until alleged violations are addressed. In response, the Foreign Affairs Ministry said Nigeria has maintained active diplomatic engagement with Washington to counter what it described as misrepresentations, adding that a government-commissioned study on killings in Nigeria offers an unbiased account of the country's complex security situation. The Nasarawa State Police Command has confirmed that 8 people were killed when gunmen attacked Nindama community in Kokona local government area. Police spokesperson SP Rahman Nansel said the Commissioner of Police CP Shatima Jaro Mohammed visited the community to condole with residents and assess the situation. He said security operatives have been deployed to the area while an investigation is underway to identify and prosecute the perpetrators. The police added that efforts are ongoing to rescue missing persons and restore peace in the affected community. In a renewed effort to curb the menace of criminality in Katsina State, the police command has arrested 168 suspects in connection with 195 reported cases during the month of September 2025. The arrests include 12 suspected armed robbers, 5 suspected culprits of homicide, over 20 suspected rapists, 9 suspected vandals, and 2 alleged gun runners. In Katsina, Trust TV's Abdullahi Ahmadi brings in the report.
The Katsina State Police Command also disclosed that it apprehended 3 suspects for unlawful possession of firearms and 14 others for alleged illicit drug peddling, among several other criminal offenses. In another significant stride against banditry, the command said it foiled several terrorist attacks, neutralized 5 armed men, and rescued over 80 kidnapped victims within the same period.
The suspects are Abdusalam Mohammed, age 25, and Aminu Mamman, age 23, both male residents of Bauring Safana village in Safana local government area of Katsina State. And during preliminary investigation, the suspect confessed to have picked this exhibit from Hadija of Jigawa State, and they are on their way to Bauring Safana forest in Safana local government area to deliver this exhibit to criminal elements hibernating in the forest.
According to the police public relations officer, several exhibits were recovered during various operations. These include 1,298 rounds of live ammunition, 4 cartridges, 1 general purpose machine gun GPMG, 2 AK-47 rifles, and 1 locally fabricated firearm. The command also highlighted other recoveries made within the period under review.
1 den gun, 5 suspected stolen motorcycles, as well as 5 suspected stolen motor vehicles, 1,096 pieces of tramadol tablets, 42 pieces of Exol tablets, and wraps of dried leaves suspected to be cannabis, and large quantities of suspected vandalized electric cables.
However, the police are appealing for more cooperation and support from members of the public to consolidate these achievements. According to the command, the fight against criminality can only be sustained through timely reporting of suspicious movements and crimes across communities in the state. Abdullahi Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Floods ravaging several parts of Nigeria have claimed no fewer than 238 lives and displaced 135,764 persons across 27 states. According to the latest situation report from the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, as of October 10, 2025. The agency's 2025 flood dashboard revealed that at least 409,714 people have been affected nationwide, with 826 persons injured and 115 persons missing. The disaster has also destroyed or damaged over 47,000 houses and submerged approximately 62,653 hectares of farmland, raising fresh concerns about food insecurity and loss of livelihoods. Among the most severely impacted states are Adamawa, Lagos, and Akwa Ibom states, which recorded more than 46,000 affected residents. Other states significantly hit include Taraba, Imo, Kaduna, Rivers, Delta, Abia, Edo, and Niger, while floods also ravaged parts of the Federal Capital Territory. NEMA noted that children make up the largest portion of those affected, followed by women and men. The elderly and persons with disabilities were also among the victims. The agency identified food, shelter, water, sanitation, and healthcare as the most pressing needs in affected communities. It added that access challenges due to washed-out roads, insecurity in certain regions, and insufficient relief materials continue to hinder response operations. The Lagos state government has demolished 17 houses for encroaching on the right-of-way of the Ikota River alignment, in what officials described as a decisive move to restore the natural watercourse and curb persistent flooding in the area. Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, led an enforcement team and journalists to the site on Saturday, warning residents against environmental violations and the unlawful reclamation of wetlands. Wahab revealed that the ministry had received reports months earlier of illegal reclamation activities aimed at narrowing the river's natural path. He said the government had no choice but to clear all structures obstructing the flow of water and vowed that those responsible would face prosecution. The commissioner explained that while it was impossible to eliminate flooding entirely in a coastal city surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, lagoons, and rivers, the state was investing heavily in drainage infrastructure and daily distilling to minimize the impact. He cited a property, number 156, as a key obstruction to the coastal road alignment, disrupting the river's natural flow. Wahab added that demolition was never the government's first resort, as several corrective measures and notices had been issued before the exercise. Recurring violent attacks have left many communities in Adamawa State living in fear and uncertainty. In Lamurde, one of the latest flashpoints, survivors of the recent Bachama-Chobo conflict still face hunger, displacement, and loss. But amid the ruins, a few hands of compassion are reaching out. Gibson Sardigo brings in this report.
Lamurde local government area has seen repeated cycles of violence, each wave leaving behind deeper wounds. The latest clash between the Bachama and Chobo communities claimed lives, destroyed homes, and forced hundreds to flee. Months later, farmlands remain untended, homes deserted, and families scattered. Many now depend on food aid to survive, unable to return to their normal lives. In a gesture of hope, the Catholic Diocese of Yola, working with other faith-based groups, has distributed food and essential items to 60 displaced families. It's a small act in the face of a big tragedy, but for those affected, it means a lot.
We have made a kind of a needs assessment of the two different communities, and we discover that the actually need kind of assistance now, because a lot of them have lost virtually everything. And we're able to appeal to our partners in Germany, aid to the church in need that has been helping us over the years. And so they were able to send us some money in order to assist the needy.
Bishop Mamza says the persistence of violence is a reminder that peace building must be everyone's responsibility. He calls for dialogue, security cooperation, and stronger community engagement to break the cycle of hate and revenge.
It is the people themselves that can bring that peace about. And God will be there in order to assist them, in order to make sure that that peace is sustained. But they have to initiate it. They have to come together. They have to discuss. They have to see what is happening now in between Palestinians and Israel. After 2 years of fighting, killing, destruction, now peace has to be signed. So there's no gain in war. There's no gain in conflict.
For victims like Mercy James and Daniel Asogu, the aid offers temporary relief, but also rekindles the hope that peace can return someday.
What happened to us, this crisis, sincerely we feel it very bad, and it affected us badly. We have nothing to say but to thank for these items that given to us.
We go a long way in assisting our need in terms of food, because virtually we lost everything. My house was burned down, nothing I could pick inside my house. After the conflict, I have to go back home, and then even the items I'm wearing, the clothes I'm wearing now, I have to send home to retrieve the items I'm wearing now.
The Adamawa State government says it is working with local leaders to restore peace and rebuild trust. Yet, for many in Lamurde, the fear of another attack still hangs heavy, a reminder that peace in the region remains fragile. From hunger to displacement, the people of Lamurde continue to live through the aftermath of violence. But as faith groups and communities reach across divides, they show that even in conflict, humanity can still find a voice. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
This is the news update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu heads to Rome for Akaba process meeting. More news when we return. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at some of our top stories. ASU set to begin strike on Monday. Lagos demolishes 17 houses built on Ikoto River right-of-way. Now moving to other stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will today, Sunday, October the 12th, depart Abuja for Rome, Italy, to participate in the Akaba process heads of state and government meetings aimed at tackling the escalating security crisis in West Africa. A statement released on Saturday by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said the high-level gathering will convene on October the 14th, bringing together African leaders, senior intelligence and defense officials, as well as representatives of international organizations to deliberate on the region's growing security threats. The Akaba process, established in 2015 by King Abdullah II of Jordan, and jointly chaired by Jordan and Italy, is a global counter-terrorism initiative designed to strengthen international collaboration against terrorism, violent extremism, and cross-border crime. This year's session is expected to examine the expansion of terrorist networks in West Africa, the link between organized crime and terrorism, and the interconnection between Sahel-based insurgencies and maritime piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. According to the statement, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be accompanied by top government officials, including the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu, Minister of Defense Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, and the Director General of the National Intelligence Agency Mohammed, amongst others. Poor driving culture on Nigerian roads is a complex issue with multiple contributing factors, including driver behavior, regulatory failures, and inadequate infrastructure. This has resulted in a high rate of accidents, with the World Health Organization reporting Nigeria as having one of Africa's highest road traffic deaths. Trust TV's Bella Musa has more.
Certain characteristics define bad driving culture on Nigerian roads, including reckless and aggressive driving, often referred to as kamikaze driving, which is manifested in excessive speeding and dangerous overtaking. There is often widespread disobedience of traffic rules, from running red light and tailgating to disregarding speed limit and road markings. Some motorists say many of those who drive recklessly lack basic knowledge of driving. Most reckless drivers lack the basic skills and discipline required for driving. That's why we often record frequent accidents. If you are a professional driver, you can't afford to engage in reckless driving. Many of these drivers can't even pass a simple driving test, yet they are still behind the wheel. Many drivers display a lack of patience, courtesy, and consideration for other road users, viewing the road as a survival of the fittest competition.
But when it comes to reckless driving, more especially when we discover that the driver that is driving recklessly is not even qualified to be the driver in the first place, we apprehend the vehicle. We do what we impound the vehicle. By impounding the vehicle, we mean we impound the vehicle to either our base, any of our offices, or any of the police formation or any other sister security agencies closer to where we apprehend the vehicle. So when we apprehend the vehicle, we find out the driver is not qualified, we don't release the vehicle to that unqualified driver.
Hassan Yau, a veteran driver who has been in commercial driving for 40 years, attributed the menace of reckless driving to the lack of proper licensing of drivers by the concerned authorities. One had to attend coaching classes and undergo a series of tests and examinations conducted by the Vehicle Inspection Office (VIO) before obtaining a driver's license. But today, many drivers simply pay to get the license without going through the proper process. The bad driving culture can also be traced to low expectations of enforcement due to a compromised road traffic management system. However, according to the FRSC, it is checkmating the conduct of its personnel to ensure professionalism.
We have a bylaw, and everybody knows road safety is an organization that upholds the rule of law. We make sure we have what we call internal means of disciplining our staff. We have lawyers in all our formations, and we always constitute our own local internal disciplinary procedure to investigate the offense alleged to be committed by our space, and we punish them. And the punishment varies. There are some offenses that people will commit, even dismissal or termination of appointment.
Many motorists are guilty of driving while under the influence of alcohol or drugs, while drivers also tend to use mobile phones, eat, or engage in conversations while driving. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Nigeria's public debt stress has surged to its highest level on record, according to a new debt burden index released by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group (NESG) at its annual conference in Abuja. The report revealed that between 2020 and 2023, Nigeria's index peaked to 83.6 points, signaling intense fiscal strain driven by pandemic-era borrowing, declining revenues, and debt servicing costs that exceeded total government income. According to the findings, the country's debt architecture has become structurally fragile and fiscally draining, underscoring the urgent need for reform. As of August 2025, Nigeria had spent $2.86 billion servicing external debt, slightly below the $3.6 billion recorded in the same period of 2024. This represents 69.1% of the nation's total foreign payments of $4.14 billion within the review window. The NESG noted that the debt burden index offers a truer reflection of Nigeria's fiscal health than the traditional debt to GDP ratio by combining solvency, liquidity, and revenue capital into a single diagnostic measure. And away from Nigeria, in a dramatic turn of events, groups of Madagascar soldiers on Saturday joined thousands of youth-led protests in Antananarivo, the capital city, marking a significant escalation in the island nation's growing political unrest. Soldiers were cheered by demonstrators after declaring they would refuse any orders to shoot protesters. Their defection comes amid widespread anger over crippling power and water shortages that have spiraled into a mass movement demanding political change. The soldiers arrived near Lake Anosi, the heart of the protest zone, where they were welcomed as heroes, waving national flags as crowds shouted, "Thank you." Earlier that day, during a meeting at a military barracks on the outskirts of the capital, they announced their refusal to suppress peaceful demonstrations and urged other units, including those stationed at the airport, to ground all aircraft and disobey any shoot-to-kill orders. Saturday's rally was amongst the largest since the September 25th, when the Gen Z movement, a youth coalition, began leading nationwide demonstrations over deteriorating living conditions and government corruption. Security forces initially attempted to disperse protesters using tear gas, stun grenades, and rubber bullets, but the military intervention shifted the balance of power on the streets. Several people were reportedly injured in the clashes, while viral videos on social media showed police officers brutally assaulting demonstrators. And with that, we come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for a constant live stream of programs and documentaries. My name is Hawa Gambo, saying thank you for joining us and see you next time.